Hi, welcome back to CP Life Unfiltered. I'm Shannon, your co-host. Uh,
I'm Anna Montaldo, your other co-host.
and today's oh, just a reminder that this podcast is not for children. This podcast is strictly for adults, as we explain what it is like living with CP as adults.
We hope that not only do he listen to the podcast, but we also hope that if you are a family member and you are a family member, a loved one living with cerebral palsy or a disability member, we hope you will stick around and listen too.
What what was your family's biggest fear of independence?
My family benefit me having independence was one or two things. One, they were worried about me falling over and hurting myself because my primary equipment is a walker, and now I have a power here, so that here either have gone away over time, but one of the other been here, mine and there, what the hell happened if my house would have burned down or some type of burn? Hey, the emergency, would I be able to get out of my house? Hey, me, do I not how much do I know what to do in an emergency? Because I do, but more so like would I be able to get my health out, my health hit me as well as my 100-pound weight puny and my very, very deaf Dawson who is 10.5 years old. Would I be able to get everyone out of my house? Hey, me and have to devices that I would need a phone or an Apple Watch to call 911.
Oh, good answer. My family's biggest fear, for me would have to be leaving me home alone. For uh, During COVID, my parents started leaving me home alone. My grandma is my caregiver, and during COVID, she couldn't come over, so my parents started leaving me home alone at from 6 till 9 until she could get till she could get to my house. And even though I don't need my grandma that much, my grandma is here just to make sure everything is good with me. If I need anything, like Anna said, if there was an emergency, would I be able to get out of the house? What would I need to get out of the house? I I can take care of myself pretty well. I just need somebody to be here just in case I need something or something happens, like if I was to fall, like Anna said.
Right, and do you in that same mind, do you have any do you have any here about your health, not from your family, but do you personally have any here about being home alone or anything like that? And if you do, what are they? And how do you cope with those here?
Good question. When I first started staying home alone, I was very nervous to stay home alone because I always had somebody all the time, 24/7. But now that I'm staying home alone, I'm getting used to it more, and I be careful where I'm going in the house. I make sure that even though we have rugs in the house, I make sure that my wheels don't get caught in the rugs. And if they do, I don't panic. I just back up my wheelchair and just um I just back up my wheelchair and go along on my morning. And if my rug is messed up, I leave it as is and wait for somebody to to come here and fix it. Not that not that I have fallen before, but if I was to ever fall when I get caught on a rug, I know I would immediately call my my mom and tell her what happened, and then and then and then if she couldn't get here, I would call somebody to get here quick,
Mhm.
who would be able to be here quicker. But if I was in an emergency where I needed help, I would know to call 911.
I think Marina and I think for a while my been here personally, meaning not my parents, me personally, Anna, my 24-year-old, living with cerebral palsy, who asked my 2-year-old, in this neighborhood would be breaking in somebody breaking into the house and me being a hippo like I am wouldn't be able to defend her house. And I think a lot of that when I was younger we had we were neighbor behind our old house had a drug addict banging on their door at like I want to say 10 or 11 at night, and the individual actually broke his head open on their door, and I was like I want to say 9 or 10, maybe younger at that time, and the neighbor house was right next to my bedroom window, and because of that, it sounded like it was our house, when in turn it was the neighbor's house. But I ever that incident, I was a little afraid of people coming in and me not knowing what I would do if someone broke into the house. Um, so you have prior to having that incident happen in our neighborhood, um, I used to stay home all the time for about an hour at a time when I was in heaven and eighth grade. And then after that incident, I became kind of like a paranoid old lady. And I had all the doors locked. I had to know who was coming and going at all times. I had to, and I really didn't like staying home alone. So I think my business here is always what if someone break into the house?
That is very valid. I completely get where you're coming from. My worries is, what if somebody breaks in the house? That's why my parents installed a Ring doorbell, so they always have uh, access on their phone to who's coming up the ramp, who's going down the ramp. I have a ramp because I'm in a power wheelchair. So I think that's what keeps me mellow and keeps me calm, is that my house, we installed a Ring doorbell, and it's attached to both parents' phones.
I don't have a doorbell, but I have a 100 and high pound Nate peony that he ever had to. Don't with Henry. Oh, why are we talking about independence? Well, this episode topic is how to enhance your you are independent or an individual you are their independence. And when we say independence, we don't mean doing it all by yourself. I'm going to repeat that again. We don't mean doing it all by yourself. We are talking about interdependence, meaning you can rely on your support team to help you with whatever you need help with. Hold the door and being held up.
This is why it is called CP Unfiltered.
Yep. Henry rather eat. Big boy Henry and tell Indian food, but he rather eat to do her. Are you finished? Uh-oh. My button doesn't walk in. Okay. Mom, you had a whole wide. Okay, back to what I was saying. We are talking about interdependence. How being independent, but how relying on your support team, whatever that may look like. So some of you maybe hire 1,000% hair, and the other part of you may only hire a little bit of hair. So how, depending on where you are in that independent hair, how can you become more independent as possible? So that's what we are talking about this evening. Shannon, you want to talk about how you started your independent journey? I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, when did you start? Why did you start? And how did you start?
Okay, yes, I will. Well, like I said a little bit earlier ago, I have a caretaker. She's a family member and she's getting up there in age, and so she couldn't she can't be here always, and she has to come later, and that's okay. And when I first started staying home alone, what really made me start staying home alone was COVID. And the reason, and you're probably thinking, why would COVID make her stay home? Well, if she's a family member. Well, funny story is, when I aged out of school in 2020, she used to come over at 6 o'clock in the morning and watch me sleep until I got up at 10, 11 o'clock. Well, something dawned on her during COVID, and she asked me, "Hey Shannon, how would you feel about staying home till 9 o'clock and I get some extra hours of sleep and I wake myself up and I see you between 9 and 10?" I said, yes, we can try it. We tried it for a week. I did well. We tried it for another week. I did well, and the more we did it, the more I got comfortable, and so uh, that is where that started of me staying home alone, was because I had COVID and so did she, and we couldn't be around each other, so I was home all day to begin with, and that's what made me get get the more get the more, I wouldn't say courage, but get the more uh courage to stay home alone. And now if she doesn't come 10, 11 o'clock, like if she has doctor's appointments or whatnot. I used to worry that she wasn't here. Now I know what now I'm capable of staying home alone because like I said, my parents have a ring doorbell attached to their phone. So if anybody comes up to the ramp, uh my parents are notified, and then if my parents know who they are, they tell me and I let them in, and if they don't know who they are, I I I don't let them in.
Right, and that in oh there, anyway, window poke. How I mean, hey, how prior to Herman Hannon, you would ever want any sort of independent at all, rather than staying home alone, like you talked about, or picking out what for dinner or what for lunch. Did you have any want or desire to have those type of independent move? Or did you hey, this is what my life is, people decide what I want, and I'm going on with it?
No, I've always had the desire to pick out my clothes. I've always picked out my clothes for school. I've always no, I've had the desire to pick out my clothes since I can remember. I've always had the desire of suggesting to my parents, "Hey, how about we have this for dinner? Or how about we have this for dinner?" I've always had those two desires, picking out my clothes and what's for dinner. But prior to COVID, I've never had the desire to stay home by myself.
Interesting. How my hearing Hannon. Um, how my story is a little bit different. While for those of you who are new listeners and have no idea about my family, I am a baby. He children. Um, and I have two amazing older brothers. Matt, who if you're listening to this, one of which he missed my basement because tornado right now. So he probably is listening to this. Maybe I'm above his head right now. But if you were listening to this, you might. But I had two older brothers who would primarily at my hair ribbon and my hands, and they were always willing to take me out to dinner or to dances I had in middle school or to events and to me with their best hands and all that. So I really didn't have a desire to um yeah, I didn't have the desire to rebel, one might say, and my pretty, my pretty amazing life, right? But as I got older, I want to say in seventh and eighth grade, I saw that everybody was going out with their hands, and everyone was invited to a party or staying home alone without babysitter or without parents supervision. And honestly, I still didn't have that desire. I am a bookworm and I like watching YouTube and doing all that. So I thought my Friday night in my room were pretty dang good. Until I met to meet my two best friends, Teddy and Allie. And those two people kind of convinced me that, it's completely okay to want to be independent and find your people and train the people on how to be helpful to you. And then I really wanted to think about like I want to go out with him. I want to be out at party. I want to be out to dinner with people my own age. I want to, do all that. So I wasn't going out with him independently when I was having when I was having when I was in heaven for a maid. But I still didn't have the desire to pick out what I want or what I ate until I was an 18-year-old during COVID. And I was at home on lockdown like everyone else in this world. And then I really wanted to hail. I wanted to hail because all my friends were going off to university and little old me was going to be in her hometown forever and ever and ever and ever. Well, at least until I meet my wife, I'll be here. But I can make the most of it. So then I wanted making the decision on what I wanted to wear, where I wanted to work, what I wanted to eat. I wanted making adaptations in my own home to make my easier. I wanted hiding what I was gonna do during the day. I didn't have school, and so that really wanted the true independence for me. Okay, so now that you guys know a little bit about authoring, it is time for us to make you some tips on independence and some way that we think you guys should put in here in your independence a little bit at a time. We have been talking a lot about staying home alone, going out with him, but we acknowledge that people with disability may not have the capability to do those things right away. So we do want to make you guys have an idea on how you can enhance your independence in your own home if you are a family member or a family individual with disability. Do you want to hold our hand and talking about the little things that people can do and how they provide that, providing that to individuals at a young age?
Yes, ways you could start providing independence to uh, children at a young age is letting them pick out their clothes, letting them make the decision what they want for lunch, letting them uh, go to play dates after school. Um, Speaking of play dates, I went to lots of play dates after school. I would ride the bus, and the person that I was going to the play date with, right, rode the same bus as me, so that wasn't a problem. All we had to do was give the bus driver a note that I wasn't being dropped off at my original destination. I was being dropped off at a friend's house, and vice versa. If a friend was coming to my house, they would give the bus driver a note that they weren't being dropped off at their regular destination. They were being dropped off at a friend's house. So my advice is ask your children, do what do you want to wear today, or what do you want for lunch, or do you want to do you want to go see a friend? Let your children make those decisions.
And one of the main things I hear as a professional is, well, my child is nonverbal. How am I supposed to, in here independent if they are nonverbal or if they have a different way of communicating. Well, I'm going to be quite honest with you. That should never be a barrier. There are ways to figure that out. Some way that I've seen other people do it. They will they will pick out one or two talking pairs and have the person blink at what they want, or point at what they want, or say what they want, or program your higher talker to have the option that you are, that is available to them. And then make sure that the people around them or the people who are going to um, really enhance that and really be dedicated to that, because if you're not dedicated, you're not going to get very far. But nonverbal would never be an appeal to for anybody. Now, the only appeal that I can see is obviously you want your hired to be safe. So make sure you're doing it in a safe manner. Make sure you know the people. Make sure you know the limitations. Make sure you talk to the people who are enhancing the independence. Because that's all important.
Something else I would like to add is patience. Patience, patience, patience. You need to be patient with your children. If it takes them a while to say what they want, you need to be patient and not make the decision for them. Just because you're in a hurry doesn't mean that's your fault if you're in a hurry. Let them be children and let them have desires. Let them have fun. They're only children for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I'm going to repeat this: patience, patience, patience. If you ask a child what do they want for lunch, and they don't answer you right away, that's okay. It may take them a while. Or if you ask them what they want to wear, and they don't answer you right away, that's okay. But don't go behind their backs and pick out their outfit for them or pick out their lunch for them. That is the worst thing you can do to a child's self esteem.
Yep, I agree. And also, my on the time thing, like Shannon said, it's going to take a while. So if you know you have something really dire to do that day is not the day to pick out your to allow independence. Uh, but if they're having not dire, then let them be independent. Maybe make sure we didn't miss anything on our hit list, before we end the episode with 1 minute.
So, another thing that we would like to discuss is safety. And what I mean by safety is safety in the house, with make sure there's covers on the stove knobs, make sure that uh, cans cans aren't reachable, that they can cut themselves on. Make sure the Tide Pods are put away. Whatever you use for the laundry, make sure that's put away so they don't open it and potentially hurt themselves. And I also would recommend before you leave your child home alone for 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 however long you want to leave them home alone. Don't start cold turkey. Start off start off slow. For instance, my family started off slow by just going around the neighbor talking to the neighbors or um cleaning their car. They were nearby if I needed something. And if your child is old enough to dial a phone, you can either give them the house phone. You can either give them a landline if you still have a landline, because I know landlines don't really exist. But if you do and you have a young child at home, give them a landline if for just in case there's an emergency, or if you have a child that is old enough to have a cell phone, make sure they have their cell phone on them in case there's a medical emergency or just a regular emergency. We don't want to have children uh, be home alone and they don't know what to do.
Right, and maybe let us know if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know in the comments if you want to do a whole episode of technology and what Hannah and I use. Because I feel like that could be a topic in itself. And maybe the podcast or in it. But thank you so much for talking with us today. Make sure you look out on the episode where I'm hopeful will be out in the next let's say 2 weeks. Um, if not sooner, we hope you enjoyed it. I think on the episode will probably be something to do with parenting with a disability. What you think, Shannon?
Yes.
Yeah. So we will see you in 2 weeks, if not sooner. And we'll have you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.